Ideas that bring movement and dynamics to simple setups always interest me, and today we're tackling one of them, paraphonic patching. This doesn't require much, but can lead to great sounds like this, and this, and this, and this. The core idea of paraphonic patches is to use a single voice with two oscillators that receive different tuning information. Here you see a two oscillator voice with mixer, single filter and VCA. If you use a sequencer to gate an envelope, opening the filter in VCA, and tune both oscillators, you get a standard monophonic voice. Even though multiple oscillators are used and they can be tuned in different ways, they maintain the same harmonic ratio. If you unplug the 1 volt per octave to one of the oscillators, that changes. Now only one oscillator is following the sequence, the other just drones away with a steady frequency. This can be used to great effect. You can step this up a notch by adding a second synced sequencer and creating a different sequence for each of the oscillators. In this video, I'll explore tips and tricks to add more depth to this simple setup. And just in case you missed it, I designed a module with ADAC system, and 2 weeks ago we released it. I'm super proud of it, it's for sale now and a fantastic source of organic modulation in your patches. If you'd like to learn more about it, you can watch the video here. But now, let's dive right in. Let's start with a simple add-on to the basic setup, using VCAs to add dynamics to the volume of the oscillators. Here's that basic setup with one sequenced and one droning oscillator. The tuning of the droning oscillator makes a big difference. A simple way to add more dynamics to the setup is by sending the droning oscillator through a VCA before it's mixed with the main oscillator. Use something like a sine LFO or nice smooth random voltage to modulate the VCA. Here's the same idea, but this time the sequenced oscillator is sent through the modulated VCA before the mixer. This has a very different effect because now the melodic part of the voice fades in and out. To add more depth to the drone voice, a synced clock divider is sent through an attenuator and used to modulate the FM input. This creates a tunable 2-note drone. Here's the same patch, but a bandpass filter is used, with a sine LFO modulating the frequency. Of course, filter modulation has a great effect in these patches. A bandpass filter can bring out the different oscillators, especially when they're tuned octaves apart. When you use two different sequences, adding a VCA will add a lot of melodic variation, especially when modulating the VCA with unsynced or random voltages. Even though the sequences are synced, you can experiment with creating sequences with different speeds or sequence length to create nice melodic evolutions. To push this even further, you can use two VCAs, or send the two oscillators through a crossfader before going to the filter. In this setup, modulation to the crossfader will set the balance between the two melodic voices. If you don't have a crossfader or panner, have a look at this video. It's very easy to make one with a couple of tools you probably do have. Instead of an LFO or random voltage, you can use other modulation signals, like another sequence, sample and hold signal, or even a hard gate, for example from a clock division. Here, an uneven division is used, resulting in interesting switching between the two oscillators. Having two oscillators with changing harmonic ratio opens a fun world of frequency modulation, both for the filter and oscillators. Here's the simple bass voice with two sequenced oscillators. Using an audio rate signal to modulate the filter is a classic trick, but with two oscillators you have more options. For example, you can make a copy of each audio signal and send them through a modulated crossfader. The audio signals effectively become modulation signals, used to modulate the filter in turn. Here's the same setup, but only one oscillator is sequenced, and a random voltage is used to modulate the crossfader. Similar tricks can be used to modulate the frequency of an oscillator. Here, a copy of the droning oscillator is sent through a VCA and on to modulate the sequenced oscillator. A random voltage is used to create dynamics in the modulation depth. A copy of that voltage is also used to modulate the filter, to bring out the harmonics created with the fan. Here, FM is pushed even further. A copy of the first oscillator is sent through a VCA as well and modulating the FM input of the second oscillator. In this setup, the second oscillator also receives a sequence. You can modulate both VCAs in different ways or use a single modulation with an inversed signal to sweep between modulation. Because you work with two oscillators, you can modulate the wave shape of each of them in unique ways to create long dynamic motion in your patches. Here's the base setup with two oscillators. One of them has wave shaping options and is modulated with a sine LFO. The other oscillator is simple, but a sine and square output are sent through a crossfader, again modulated with the sine wave LFO. This creates interesting shift in the sounds, especially with unsynced LFOs. You can use any kind of wave shaping tricks or effects you like. Here's a setup with two simple oscillators, but one is sent through a delay with a very short delay time, and the other is sent through a frequency shifter. Both effects are modulated again to add nice shifting dynamics. You can also experiment with more envelopes. Here, a slow rising envelope is used to open the filter in VCA, but a second short envelope is modulating the filter as well. This accentuates the rhythm of both sequences while still using a single filter and VCA. Another great trick is sending the mix of two simple waves through a wave folder. This is already great with two oscillators that maintain their harmonic ratio, but with two different sequences, the wave folding is even more dramatic. I recently made videos on how to use noise and how to add interesting transients to sounds. These all work great with simple paraphonic patches as well, so make sure to check those out. I hope that gives you some starting ideas to explore more. If you'd like to learn more about my random module, have a look here and here for other videos. As always, smash that like, subscribe and bell button if you want to see more modular content from me. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching and see you next time.